Captain Lee Hyun stared at the sensor display with tired eyes. 3 weeks of searching through empty space had given his crew nothing but space rocks and cosmic dust. The salvage business was getting harder every year. Most of the good wrecks had already been found and stripped clean. "Captain, we have something strange on long-range sensors," called out systems analyst Cho Hana from her station. Her voice carried a hint of excitement that made Lee Hyun look up from his coffee. "What kind of strange?" Lee Hyun asked as he walked over to her console. The bridge of the Resilience was small and cramped, built for function rather than comfort. It was home to his crew of 8, and they had been together for 5 years now. Cho Hana pointed at her screen. "Energy readings from Sector 7. The signature is unlike anything in our database. It's huge, Captain, much bigger than any ship we've ever seen." Chief Engineer Park Mina looked up from her repair work on a damaged control panel. "Could be a trap. Pirates sometimes use fake signals to lure salvage crews into ambushes. This doesn't match any known pirate tech," Cho Hana replied, shaking her head. "The energy pattern is completely alien. I mean truly alien, not just some modified human technology." Lee Hyun studied the readings carefully. In his 15 years as a salvage captain, he had learned to trust his instincts. Something about these readings felt different, important. "Set course for the source," he ordered. "But keep the weapons ready. If this is a trap, we'll be prepared." The journey took 6 hours through the asteroid field. As they got closer, the energy readings grew stronger. Weapons specialist Kim Tae ran constant scans for hostile ships, but found nothing. "Captain," Cho Hana said, her voice filled with wonder, "you need to see this." The main screen flickered to life, showing what lay ahead of them. Lee Hyun felt his breath catch in his throat. Floating in the darkness was a ship unlike anything he had ever seen. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest human battleship. Its hull was dark and smooth, covered in strange patterns that seemed to shift in the starlight. "My God," whispered Park Mina. "What is that thing?" "Unknown vessel. This is Captain Lee Hyun of the salvage ship Resilience," Lee Hyun said into his communicator. "Please respond." Only silence answered him. "No life signs," reported Kim Tae after running a full scan. "But there's definitely power running through that ship. Minimal levels, but it's still active after who knows how long." "Any idea how old it is?" Lee Hyun asked. Dr. Yoon Jae, their science officer, looked up from his instruments. "The metal? Composition is unknown. The design doesn't match any civilization in our records. This could be thousands of years old, maybe tens of thousands." Lee Hyun made his decision. "We're going aboard. Park Mina, Kim Tae, you're with me. Everyone else stays here and monitors our progress." The docking process was tricky. The alien ship had no obvious docking ports, so they had to use their cutting tools to create an entry point. The hull was incredibly thick and made of materials that resisted their equipment. "This metal is amazing," Park Mina said as they worked. "It's stronger than anything we use in our ships, but somehow our tools can still cut through it." Once inside, they found themselves in a corridor that was clearly not built for humans. The ceiling was too high, the doorways too wide. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls, which were covered in symbols that hurt to look at directly. "The air is breathable," Kim Tae reported, checking his scanner. "Oxygen levels are good. Temperature is cold but not dangerous." They moved deeper into the ship, following corridors that seemed to stretch forever. The architecture was beautiful but alien, with flowing curves and organic shapes that made no sense to human eyes. "Wait," said Park Mina, stopping suddenly. "Do you hear that?" A low humming sound was coming from somewhere ahead of them. As they got closer, it grew louder and more complex, almost like music. The corridor opened into a vast chamber filled with strange machinery. In the center was a pillar of crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. As they approached it, the humming grew louder. Suddenly, the crystal flared brightly, and a voice filled the chamber. It spoke in a language none of them recognized, but somehow they could understand it. "Greetings, strangers. I am Nex, guardian of the Eternal Warden. You are not Velkari. What are you?" Lee Hyun stepped forward, fighting his fear. We are humans. I am Captain Lee Hyun. We found your ship drifting in space. Humans, the voice repeated, as if tasting the word. Unknown species. You have awakened me from my long sleep. The Eternal Warden has waited 50,000 years for worthy beings to claim it. 50,000 years, Park Mina whispered. The Velkari built this vessel as their ultimate weapon, Nex continued. But they fell before its completion. The Devourers consumed our worlds, our people, our hope. Only I remain, waiting for another. Species strong enough to finish what we started. What are the Devourers? Lee Hyun asked. The crystal pulsed darker. Death, hunger. They consume entire star systems, growing stronger with each world they devour. The Velkari fought them for 1,000 years before we fell. This ship was our last hope. Kim Tae was running scans of the machinery around them. Captain, this technology is incredible. The power systems alone are beyond anything we've ever seen. The ship is dying, Nex said sadly. My systems fail more each day. The weapons are offline. The engines barely function. But the basic structure remains strong. The Eternal Warden could rise again with the right hands to guide it. Lee Hyun looked at his crew. He could see the same thought in their eyes that was running through his mind. This was the discovery of a lifetime. A ship that could change everything for humanity. Why us, he asked. Why did you choose to speak with us? I did not choose you, Nex replied. You chose yourselves by coming here. By not fleeing when you saw something unknown. The Velkari valued courage above all else. You have shown courage. Park. Mina was studying her scanner readings. Captain, the power core is failing. We might have days before this ship goes completely dark. Then we need to make a decision quickly, Lee Hyun said. He looked around the chamber at the ancient technology, at the dying light of a civilization that had fought against impossible odds. Nex, he said finally, what would it take to restore this ship? New technology, new ideas, new hope, came the reply. The Eternal Warden was designed to adapt and learn. It could incorporate your technology, your methods, your spirit. But such work would be dangerous. The colonial authority would not approve. Lee Hyun smiled grimly. The colonial authority rarely approved of anything that didn't directly benefit their bureaucrats. Let's see what we can do, he said. Chief Engineer Park Mina had never seen anything like the engine room of the Eternal Warden. The space was enormous, filled with machinery that seemed to grow from the walls like living metal trees. Conduits of energy flowed through transparent tubes, creating patterns of light that moved like rivers through the darkness. This is impossible, she whispered to herself as she studied her scanner readings. The power output should be 10 times higher than what we're seeing. Something is blocking the energy flow. Captain Lee Hyun stood beside her, watching as she worked. 3 days had passed since they first boarded the alien ship. His crew had been working around the clock to understand what they had found. Can you fix it? He asked. Park Mina shook her head slowly. Fix it? Captain, I don't even understand how it works. This technology is completely beyond us. The power core uses some kind of exotic matter that doesn't exist in our science books. But you said our equipment can interface with it, Lee Hyun reminded her. That's the strangest part, Park Mina replied, pointing at a junction where human cables connected to alien systems. Our technology shouldn't be compatible at all, but somehow it is. It's like this ship was designed to work with whatever technology its crew brings to it. Across the ship, Dr. Yoon Jae was having his own revelations in what appeared to be the ship's library. Walls covered in crystal displays showed images and text in the Velkari language, but Nex was translating everything for him. The Velkari were warriors, Nex explained, as ancient battle scenes played out on the screens, but not like your human soldiers. They fought for survival, not conquest. The Devourers came from beyond the galaxy, consuming everything in their path. Dr. Yoon Jae watched in horror as the displays showed entire worlds being stripped bare, their populations consumed by massive biomechanical ships. How long did the war last? 1,000 years, Nex replied sadly. The Velkari fought bravely, but the Devourers learned from every battle. They adapted, evolved, became stronger. Traditional weapons became useless against them. So you built this ship? The Eternal Warden was our last hope, a weapon that could adapt faster than the enemy. But the Valkyrie fell before we could complete it. The final systems were never installed. The ship has waited all this time for someone to finish what we started. Meanwhile, systems analyst Chohana was making discoveries of her own in the ship's computer core. The alien networks were vast and complex, but they responded to her touch as if they had been waiting for her. "Captain," she called over the communicator. "You need to see this. The ship's neural network is incredible. It's not just a computer, it's almost alive." Li Hyun made his way to the computer core, a spherical chamber filled with floating crystal nodes. Chohana was standing in the center, her hands moving over holographic displays that materialized around her. "Look at this," she said excitedly. "The ship learns from everything we do. Every time we connect our equipment, every scan we run, every repair we attempt, it's studying us, figuring out how we think and work." "Is that dangerous?" Li Hyun asked. "I don't think so," Chohana replied. "It feels more like cooperation. The ship wants to work with us. It's designed to bond with its crew and become stronger through that partnership." Nex's voice filled the chamber. The Eternal Warden was built to be more than just a weapon. It was meant to be a living partnership between ship and crew. The Valkyrie believed that the greatest strength came from unity, not domination. Kim Tae's voice crackled over the communicator from the weapons deck. "Captain, you need to get down here. I think I understand why this ship was never finished." The weapons deck was a maze of empty mounting points and disconnected systems. Massive spaces, designed for weapons, stood empty, their power feeds dark and cold. "The Valkyrie ran out of time," Kim Tae explained as he showed Li Hyun around. "They built the ship's structure and basic systems, but they never installed the final weapons. These mounting points could hold weapons far more powerful than anything we've ever seen." "But the weapons don't exist anymore," Li Hyun observed. "Exactly. But Captain, look at these power feeds, these connection points. They're designed to accept any type of weapon system. The ship could mount Valkyrie weapons, human weapons, even weapons from civilizations that don't exist yet." Back on the Resilience, Navigation Officer Oh Sung was running long-range scans while the away team explored the alien ship. What he found made his blood run cold. "Captain," he called urgently over the communicator. "We have a problem. I'm detecting energy signatures moving in from deep space. Multiple contacts, moving fast." Li Hyun felt his stomach drop. "How many ships?" "I count at least 12. They're still too far away to identify, but they're definitely heading this way. ETA is approximately 18 hours. In the computer core, Nex's voice took on an urgent tone. "Captain, your man speaks truly. I detect the approach of vessels. Their energy patterns are familiar." "Human ships?" Li Hyun asked hopefully. "No. These signatures match Devourer scout ships. They have found us." The bridge of the Resilience erupted in activity as the crew prepared for the worst. Communications specialist Lim Bo sent out emergency signals to the nearest human colonies, while the rest of the crew prepared the ship for combat. "How is that possible?" Dr. Yoon Jae asked. "Nex, you said the Devourers were defeated 50,000 years ago." "I said the Valkyrie fell," Nex corrected. "The Devourers were never defeated. They moved on to consume other parts of the galaxy. Your activation of the Eternal Warden has drawn their attention. They remember this ship, and they fear what it could become." Park Mina looked up from her instruments with grim determination. "Captain, the power core is responding to our presence. It's trying to come back online, but it's too damaged. We need to make repairs, and we need to do it fast." "How long do we have?" Li Hyun asked. "The Devourers will arrive in 16 hours, Nex reported. "The Eternal Warden cannot fight in its current state. You must choose, Captain. Flee and let this ship die, or stay and risk everything to give it new life." Li Hyun looked around at his crew. They were just 8 humans with a small salvage ship, facing an enemy that had destroyed an entire civilization. The smart choice was to run. The safe choice was to report their find to the colonial authority and let someone else deal with the problem. But as he looked at the ancient alien technology around him, at the hope in his crew's eyes, at the possibility of completing something that had waited 50,000 years to be finished, Lee Hyun knew there was only one choice he could make. "We stay," he said firmly. "We're going to finish what the Valkyrie started." "Captain," Park Mina said quietly, "we don't even know if it's possible. We're talking about integrating human technology with alien systems we barely understand." "Then we'd better start learning fast," Lee Hyun replied. "Because in 16 hours we're either going to have a working warship, or we're all going to die trying." The fate of humanity's first encounter with the Devourers now rested in the hands of 8 humans and 1 ancient alien AI, working together to achieve the impossible. 15 hours until the Devourers arrived. Captain Lee Hyun stood in the engine room of the Eternal Warden, watching his crew work with desperate efficiency. Cables ran everywhere, connecting human technology to alien systems in ways that should have been impossible. "Power coupling is holding steady," Park Mina called out from deep inside the alien machinery. She had been working for 6 straight hours, her hands covered in grease and alien fluids that glowed with soft blue light. "The fusion reactor from the Resilience is talking to their exotic matter core." "Talking is one word for it," muttered Kim Tae as he wrestled with a massive weapon mount. "This thing is trying to rewrite our targeting systems. It wants to learn how we fight." Nex's voice echoed through the ship. "The Eternal Warden seeks to understand your methods. The Valkyrie fought defensively, always reacting to enemy moves. Your species appears to favor aggressive tactics. We fight to win," Lee Hyun replied simply. "Whatever it takes." "Fascinating," Nex responded. "This approach is being integrated into all combat systems." In the weapons bay, Kim Tae had made incredible progress. The empty weapon mounts that had waited 50,000 years were finally receiving their intended purpose. Human railguns merged with alien power systems created hybrid weapons unlike anything in known space. "Captain, look at this," Kim Tae said excitedly as he showed Lee Hyun a display. "The alien systems are supercharging our kinetic weapons. Instead of just firing metal slugs, they're wrapping them in plasma fields. The penetration power is incredible." "What about the energy weapons?" Lee Hyun asked. "Even better. Our laser systems combined with their exotic energy sources create beams that can punch through multiple ship hulls. The Valkyrie built this ship to adapt and improve whatever weapons we bring to it." Chohana was having her own breakthrough in the computer core. The ship's neural network had begun responding to human thought patterns, creating interfaces that felt natural despite their alien origin. "The ship is learning our language, our tactics, even our personalities," she reported. "It's becoming more human with every hour, but it's still keeping the best parts of Valkyrie technology." "Is that safe?" Lee Hyun asked over the communicator. "I think so, Captain. The ship doesn't want to replace us. It wants to work with us. It's like having a partner who's incredibly smart and incredibly loyal." Dr. Yoon Jae was working in what used to be the ship's library, now converted into a tactical planning center. Ancient Valkyrie battle records mixed with human combat doctrine as Nex shared 50,000 years of military knowledge. "The Devourers adapt to whatever they fight," Dr. Yoon Jae explained to Lee Hyun. "They study their enemies and develop counters for every weapon, every tactic. That's why the Valkyrie lost." "But this ship is different?" "This ship learns faster than they do. Every time we add human technology, every new idea we bring, the ship incorporates it and builds on it. We're not just using Valkyrie weapons or human weapons. We're creating something entirely new." Oh Sung worked frantically on the navigation systems, integrating human jump drive technology with alien sensors that could see across vast distances. "Captain, the new sensor array is incredible. We can track individual ships from light years away, and our jump drives are running at 3 times normal efficiency." "Will it be enough?" Lee Hyun asked. "The Devourers are bringing 12 ships," Oh Sung replied grimly. "Each one is larger than our biggest battleships, but this single ship might be worth an entire fleet if we can get everything working." Park Mina's voice echoed from the engine room. "Power output is now at 40% of design capacity. The fusion reactor is holding steady, but Captain, We need more time. The exotic matter core wants to sync with our reactor completely, but the process is delicate. How long do we need? 6 hours minimum, maybe 8 to be safe. We have 9 hours until the Devourers arrive, Lee Hyun calculated. It's going to be close. Limbo had been monitoring communications from the nearest human colonies. Captain, I'm picking up colonial authority signals. They know something big is happening out here. Let them wonder, Lee Hyun replied. We can't afford to have bureaucrats interfering right now. As the hours passed, the Eternal Warden began to change. Human technology merged seamlessly with alien systems, creating hybrid solutions that neither species could have achieved alone. The ship's neural network learned human creativity and determination, while retaining Velkari wisdom and patience. Captain, Nex said, as the 8th hour of work began, the ship feels different, stronger. The integration of your technology is creating capabilities the original designers never imagined, such as adaptive shielding that learns from incoming fire, weapons that modify their output based on target analysis, engines that can jump to locations the ship has never visited by calculating gravitational patterns. Kim Tae wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished the last weapon installation. All weapons are online and synced with the targeting system. Captain, I've never seen anything like this. The ship can fire different types of ammunition from the same gun depending on what it's shooting at. The armor plating is responding too, Park Mina added. It's reorganizing itself to better protect the new human systems. This ship is becoming something unique. With 3 hours remaining, disaster nearly struck. The exotic matter core began, fluctuating wildly, threatening to overload both the alien and human power systems. The core is rejecting the fusion reactor, Park Mina called out in panic. The energy patterns are too different. They're fighting each other. Nex, can you help? Lee Hyun asked desperately. I am trying, Captain. But this integration was never attempted before. The Velkari never combined their technology with another species. Then we'll be the first, Lee Hyun declared. He grabbed Park Mina's tools and dove into the machinery himself. Tell me what to do. Working together, human engineer and alien AI found a solution. Instead of forcing the two power systems to merge, they created a buffer system that allowed each to contribute its strengths while compensating for the other's weaknesses. Power levels stabilizing, Park Mina reported with relief. We're now at 60% of design capacity and climbing. All systems are coming online, Chohana added. The ship feels alive, Captain, really alive. With 1 hour remaining before the Devourers arrived, the transformation was complete. The Eternal Warden was no longer just a Velkari ship or a collection of human modifications. It had become something new, a fusion of two civilizations united by a common purpose. Long-range sensors show the enemy fleet approaching, Oh-sung reported. 12 ships just as predicted. They'll drop out of hyperspace in 40 minutes. Lee Hyun stood on the bridge of the transformed ship, surrounded by displays that showed human text alongside alien symbols. His crew of 8 had accomplished something that should have taken years of research and development. All stations report ready, he announced. Nex, how do you feel? I feel hope, Captain, the AI replied. For the first time in 50,000 years, I believe the Devourers can be defeated. The Eternal Warden is ready for battle. Then let's finish what the Velkari started, Lee Hyun said grimly, and show these Devourers what happens when they threaten humanity. The first ships to arrive were not the Devourers. 5 human dreadnoughts dropped out of hyperspace 30 minutes before the alien fleet was expected. Captain Lee Hyun watched them approach on his new hybrid sensors while his stomach twisted with dread. Colonial authority ships, Oh-sung reported from his station. The flagship is broadcasting Admiral Kang Seo's personal codes. How did they find us so fast? Lee Hyun muttered. Our emergency signals, Limbo said quietly. They tracked the transmission back to our location. The lead ship opened a communication channel. Admiral Kang Seo's stern face appeared on the main screen. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Captain Lee Hyun, you are ordered to surrender the alien vessel immediately. What you have done here violates every first contact protocol in the Colonial Authority Handbook. Admiral, with respect, we don't have time for protocol, Li Hyun replied. The Devourers will be here in 20 minutes. This ship is humanity's only chance against them. The Devourers are a myth, Captain. Ancient legends from a dead civilization. You're letting alien propaganda cloud your judgment. Tell that to the 12 ships about to drop out of hyperspace, Li Hyun shot back. Admiral Kang Seo's expression hardened. You have stolen humanity's greatest archaeological find and modified it without authorization. Stand down immediately, or I will be forced to take action. This ship doesn't belong to the Colonial Authority, Li Hyun said firmly. It belongs to whoever can use it to protect humanity. The Velkari chose us. The Velkari are dead, Captain. You're taking orders from a computer program. On the bridge of the Eternal Warden, Nex's voice spoke quietly to Li Hyun. The Admiral speaks from fear and ignorance. She does not understand. What approaches? Captain, Chohana called out urgently. Long-range sensors are detecting massive hyperspace distortions. The Devourers are coming. Admiral Kang Seo must have received the same readings from her own ships. Her expression changed from anger to confusion. What are those energy signatures? Your answer, Li Hyun replied grimly. Space itself seemed to tear open as 12 massive ships emerged from hyperspace. They were unlike anything in human experience, looking more like living creatures than built vessels. Their hulls writhed with organic patterns, and weapon ports opened and closed like breathing mouths. My God, Admiral Kang Seo whispered. What are those things? The Devourers, Li Hyun replied. The species that destroyed the Velkari 50,000 years ago. And now they've found humanity. The alien ships moved with predatory grace, spreading out to surround both the human fleet and the Eternal Warden. They made no attempt to communicate, no demands for surrender. They simply began to advance. All ships. This is Admiral Kang Seo. The Admiral broadcast on all frequencies. Prepare for combat. Unknown hostiles are approaching with clear aggressive intent. Admiral, Li Hyun said quickly, your ships can't fight these things with conventional weapons. The Devourers adapt to whatever they encounter. They'll learn to counter your attacks within minutes. Then what do you suggest, Captain? Let us handle this. The Eternal Warden was built specifically to fight them. Admiral Kang Seo looked at the approaching alien fleet, then at the modified Velkari ship. Her military training warred with her bureaucratic instincts. You have 30 seconds to prove your ship works, Captain. If you can't stop them, my fleet will do whatever it takes. The first Devourer ship fired without warning. A beam of sickly green energy lanced out toward the human fleet. One of the Dreadnoughts tried to dodge, but the beam followed its movement, striking the ship's main engines. The human vessel went dark and began drifting. Hull breach on the Defiant, reported the fleet communications officer. They're losing atmosphere. Return fire, Admiral Kang Seo ordered. The human ships opened up with everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, and kinetic rounds struck the Devourer vessel. For a moment it seemed to work as the alien ship's hull cracked and began bleeding strange fluids. But then the damage began to heal. The ship's hull flowed like liquid metal, sealing the breaches. Worse, when the human ships fired again, their weapons had no effect. The Devourer ship had already adapted. Impossible, Admiral Kang Seo breathed. Our weapons aren't working. They learn, Li Hyun explained. Every attack teaches them how to defend against the next one. That's why the Velkari couldn't win. Second Devourer ship fired at the human fleet. This time the beam punched completely through a Dreadnought's shields and hull. The ship exploded in a ball of fire and debris. All ships withdraw, Admiral Kang Seo ordered. We can't fight them. No, Li Hyun said firmly. We can fight them, but we have to do it our way. He turned to his crew. All stations, prepare for combat. Show these things what human engineering can do. Captain, Park Mina called from engineering. Power levels are at maximum. All systems are responding perfectly. Weapons are hot and ready, Kim Tae added. Targeting the lead ship. Fire, Li Hyun ordered. The Eternal Warden's hybrid weapons unleashed hell. Plasma-wrapped kinetic rounds struck the Devourer ship with incredible force, while adaptive energy beams cut through its hull like knives through paper. The alien vessel staggered under the assault, but more importantly, when the Devourer tried to adapt, it couldn't. The ship's weapons were constantly changing, shifting their energy patterns and ammunition types faster than the enemy could compensate. Direct hit, Osung reported. The target is taking significant damage and it's not healing. How is that possible? Admiral Kang Seo asked over the communication channel. The ship learns too, Lee Hyun explained. But it learns faster than they do. Every time they try to adapt, we adapt faster. The damaged Devourer ship tried to retreat, but the Eternal Warden's new engines were too fast. Lee Hyun's ship closed the distance and delivered a final devastating volley. The alien vessel broke apart and died in the void. 1 down, 11 to go, Kim Tae said grimly. The remaining Devourers responded by changing tactics. Instead of attacking individually, they began working together, sharing information and adapting as a group. They're coordinating their defenses, Chohana warned. Multiple ships are sharing the same adaptive patterns. Then we coordinate too, Lee Hyun replied. Admiral Kang Seo, your ships can't damage them directly, but you can distract them. Keep them busy while we pick them off one by one. Understood, Captain. All ships harassment pattern Delta. Keep those things occupied. The human dreadnoughts began firing constantly, not trying to damage the Devourers but forcing them to waste energy adapting to attacks that were never meant to succeed. Meanwhile, the Eternal Warden darted between the enemy ships like a shark among whales. Second target locked, Kim Tae announced. Fire, Lee Hyun ordered. Another Devourer died, its biomechanical hull unable to cope with weapons that refused to follow predictable patterns. But the remaining ships were learning from their losses, becoming more cautious and more dangerous. Captain, Nex warned, the enemy is beginning to understand our tactics. They are adapting to our adaptation. Then we'll have to adapt to their adaptation to our adaptation, Lee Hyun replied. This is what humans do best. We improvise. The battle was far from over, but for the first time in 50,000 years, the Devourers had met their match. The Eternal Warden, powered by human determination and Velkari wisdom, was proving that even the most terrifying enemy could be defeated. Admiral, Lee Hyun said to Kang Seo, I think we're going to need a bigger fleet. The battle raged for 3 hours. The Eternal Warden danced between the Devourer ships like a predator among prey, but the enemy was learning. Each kill became harder than the last as the alien fleet shared knowledge and adapted their tactics. 6 ships down, Kim Tae reported, sweat dripping from his face. But they're coordinating their defenses now. The last one took twice as much firepower to destroy. Captain Lee Hyun watched the tactical display with growing concern. 6 Devourer ships remained, and they had formed a defensive formation that protected each vessel with overlapping shields and support fire. They're smart, he admitted. Smarter than the Velkari gave them credit for. The Velkari faced them alone, Nex replied. You have allies. Your admiral has proven resourceful. Admiral Kang Seo's remaining 4 ships continued their harassment attacks, forcing the Devourers to split their attention. 2 human dreadnoughts had been lost, but their sacrifice was buying precious time. Captain, Park Mina called from engineering. Power core is running hot. We've been pushing the exotic matter reactor beyond safe limits. We need to throttle back or risk a cascade failure. How long can we maintain current output? Lee Hyun asked. Maybe 30 minutes. After that, we're looking at total system shutdown. Lee Hyun studied the enemy formation. 6 ships, all adapting to his weapons, all protecting each other. 30 minutes to end a war that had lasted 1,000 years. Nex, he said quietly. Do you have any ideas? The Velkari had a final protocol, Nex replied after a moment of silence. A last resort that was never tested. It would require linking all ship systems directly to the crew's neural patterns. What would that do? It would make the ship truly alive. Not just adaptive, but creative, unpredictable, The Devourers could not adapt to something that constantly reinvents itself. What's the risk? Li Hyun asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. The neural feedback could kill the crew, or drive them insane. The Velkari never attempted it because the risk was too great. Chohana looked up from her station. Captain, I volunteer. I've been interfacing with the ship's systems for hours. I can handle the neural link. No, Li Hyun said firmly. If we're doing this, we all do it together. That's how humanity works. Captain, Admiral Kang Seo's voice crackled over the communicator. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. My ships can't hold out much longer. Li Hyun looked around at his crew. Park Mina nodded grimly from her engineering station. Kim Tae gave a thumbs up from weapons control. Dr. Yoon Jae, Oh Sung, and Lim Bo all indicated their agreement. All. Right next, Li Hyun said. Initialize the neural link protocol. The ship responded instantly. Crystal interfaces rose from every station, glowing with soft blue light. Each crew member placed their hands on the alien technology, feeling the ship's consciousness reach out to touch their minds. The sensation was incredible. Li Hyun could feel the ship's vast intelligence, its memories of ancient battles, its hope for the future. But more than that, he could feel his crew. Their thoughts, their determination, their shared purpose flowed through the ship's neural network. Systems integration complete, Nex announced. But the AI's voice sounded different now. More human, but also more than human. We are one. The effect on the ship was immediate. Where before it had been adaptive, now it became truly creative. Weapons shifted and changed not just in response to enemy actions, but in anticipation of them. The ship began to fight with an intuition that no computer could match. Targeting lead devourer, Kim Tae announced, but his voice carried the confidence of the entire crew. Through the neural link, every person on board contributed to the targeting solution. The Eternal Warden's weapons fired, but these weren't the same hybrid weapons they had been using. The ship had reinvented them in real time, creating entirely new forms of energy and matter that the Devourers had never encountered. The lead enemy ship tried to adapt, but adaptation required understanding. How could it counter weapons that had never existed before and would never exist again in the same form? The Devourer vessel exploded in a spectacular display of alien fire and twisted metal. 5 remain, Oh Sung reported, but through the neural link, everyone already knew. The remaining Devourers tried desperately to understand what they were facing. Their biomechanical systems strained to adapt to weapons that changed faster than thought, to tactics that shifted with the creativity of 8 human minds working as one. One by one, they fell. Each death was different, each weapon unique, each tactic born from the combined imagination of the crew. The Devourers, for all their adaptive ability, could not compete with pure human creativity guided by Velkari wisdom. When the last enemy ship died, the neural link gradually faded. The crew found themselves back in their own minds but changed. They retained the memory of unity, the knowledge of what they could accomplish together. Is it over? Park Mina asked quietly. The immediate threat is ended, Nex replied. But the Devourers have other fleets, other worlds they consume. This victory will only delay them. Then we'll be ready for them, Li Hyun said with conviction. This is just the beginning. Admiral Kang Seo's remaining ships approached the Eternal Warden cautiously. When her face appeared on the communication screen, her expression had changed completely. Captain Li Hyun, she said formally. On behalf of the Colonial Authority, I hereby recognize your crew as the rightful commanders of the vessel Eternal Warden. Your actions have saved not just this fleet, but potentially all of humanity. Thank you, Admiral, Li Hyun replied. But we're not done yet. What do you mean? Next, Li Hyun said. Show her the star charts. The main screen filled with a map of the galaxy, marked with dozens of blinking points of light. These are the locations of other Velkari ships, Nex explained. Hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for worthy crews to claim them. The Eternal Warden was just the first. Admiral Kang Seo stared at the display in amazement. How many ships? 47, Nex replied. Each one designed to bond with its crew and become something greater than the sum of its parts. The Velkari's final gift to whoever would continue their fight. Dr. Yoon Jae leaned forward excitedly. We could build a fleet, train crews to bond with the ships, create a force that could protect the entire galaxy. The Devourers will return, Lee Hyun said. When they do, humanity will be ready. We'll have ships that can adapt, crews that can think creatively, and the knowledge to fight an enemy that once seemed invincible. What about us? Park Mina asked. What happens to the Eternal Warden? We continue the mission, Lee Hyun replied. We find the other ships, we train new crews, we prepare for the war that's coming, and we explore, Chohana added, still feeling the echo of the ship's vast curiosity through their fading neural link. The galaxy is full of wonders we've never imagined. 6 months later, the Eternal Warden led a fleet of 12 Velkari ships, each crewed by humans who had learned to bond with their vessels. The ships were no longer purely Velkari or purely human, but something new, something better. In the depths of space, the Devourers regrouped and planned their return, but they would find humanity changed, strengthened by ancient wisdom and guided by the courage to face the impossible. The legacy of the Velkari lived on, not in museums or history books, but in the hands of those brave enough to finish what had been started 50,000 years ago, and in the heart of the Eternal Warden, Nex continued to learn from its human crew, growing more creative and more hopeful with each passing day. The ship that had waited alone in the darkness had found something worth protecting, the future of two civilizations united as one,